Senate will come to order. Mr. Carpenter, please call the roll.
Senators Bridges, Cook, Corum, Court, Crowder, Danielson, Donovan, Finberg, Fields, Foote, Gardner, Janal, Gonzalez, Hill, Heisey, Holbert, Lee, Lundeen, Marble, Moreno, Pedersen, Priola, Rankin, Rodriguez, Scott, Smallwood, Sonnenberg, Story, Tate, Todd, Williams, Winter, Woodward, Zinzinger. Mr. President.
Here. With 35 present, 0 absent, and 0 excused, we have a quorum. To lead us in the pledge this morning, we have Tobin and Sienna Snook from STEM Lab in North Glen, and they are the son and daughter of Senator Winter. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for the foreshadowing. I move that we suspend Senate Rule 1B to allow a person other than a senator to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted.
Happy Valentine's Day. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Approval of the journal. Senator Story.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the reading of the journal of Wednesday, February 13th, 2019 be dispensed with and that the journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. Committee reports.
February 13, 2019, Committee on State Veterans, Military Affairs, Ethics, Service, and Marriage Committee is following. House Bill 1062 be referred to Committee of the Whole. The favorable recommendation, February 13, 2019, Committee on Education, Ethics, Service, and Marriage Committee is following. House Bill 1008 be referred to Committee of the Whole. The favorable recommendation placed on the consent calendar, February 13, 2019, Committee on Judiciary, Ethics, Service, and Marriage Committee is following. Senate Bill 72 be postponed indefinitely, February 13, 2019, Committee on Judiciary, Ethics, Service, and Marriage Committee is following. House Bill 1104 be referred to Committee of the Whole. The favorable recommendation placed on the consent calendar, February 13, 2019, Committee on Judiciary, Ethics, Service, and Marriage Committee is following. House Bill 1098 be referred to Committee of the Whole. The favorable recommendation placed on the consent calendar.
Senate Services.
Correctly printed, Senate Bill 140, Senate Concurrent Resolution 1 correctly engrossed, Senate Bill 14 correctly re-engrossed, Senate Bill 1760, 395, and 102 correctly revised, House Bill 1036.
Third reading of bills, final passage. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title of the House Bill 1036.
House Bill 1036 by Representatives Art McLaughlin and Senator Todd concerning annual stipends for certain nationally certified school professionals.
Senator Todd.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day. And with that, I move House Bill 1036 on third and final reading and ask for an aye vote.
Seeing no further discussion on House Bill 1036, the question before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1036. Are there any no votes? Senators Hill, Lundeen, Sonnenberg, Woodward, Gardner, Marble, Cook, Crowder, the Minority Leader, Scott, Smallwood, Tate. With 23 ayes, 12 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused. House Bill 1036 is passed. Co-sponsors: Senators Zenzinger, Bridges, Story, Winter, Moreno, Pedersen, Court, Williams, Janal, Gonzalez, Fields, Danielson, Majority Leader, Rodriguez, Lee. Please add the President. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title to Senate Bill 14.
Senate Bill 14 by Senator Corman, Representative Garber, concerning measures to reduce incidents of theft from retail establishments.
Senator Quorum.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 14 on February 14. Please show the love.
Seeing no further discussion on Senate Bill 14, the motion before the body is the passage of Senate Bill 14. Are there any no votes? Senator Gonzalez. Senator Moreno. With a vote of 33 ayes, 2 no votes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, Senate Bill 14 is passed. Co-sponsors: Senators Cook, Gardner, Tate, Scott, Smallwood,
I'll make the motion.
Majority Leader Fenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. Having voted on the prevailing side, I move for the reconsideration of House Bill 1036.
The motion before the body is the reconsideration of House Bill 1036. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The motion is adopted and reconsiders House Bill 1036 is granted. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title to House Bill 1036.
House Bill 1036 by Representatives Art McLaughlin and Senator Todd, concerning annual stipends for certain nationally certified school professionals.
Senator Todd.
Thank you, Mr. President. And once again, I move House Bill 1036 and ask for an aye vote on third reading.
The motion before the body is a passage of House Bill 1036. Are there any no votes? Senators Priola, the Minority Leader, Cook, Marble, Lundin, Sonnenberg, Heisey, Crowder, Hill, Smallwood. Senator Marble, I have you recorded. Woodward, Tate, Scott, Gardner. With a vote of 21 ayes, 14 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1036 is passed. Co-sponsors: Senators Zenzinger, Winter, Story, Bridges, Rodriguez, Court, Majority Leader, Williams, Gonzalez, Janal, Pedersen, Danielson, Lee. Please add the President. General order, second reading of bills, consent calendar, Majority Leader Fenberg. Senator Danielson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bill, consent calendar.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration as a general order, second reading of bills, consent calendar, and Senator Danielson will take the chair.
Good morning, colleagues. The committee will come to order and the court rule is relaxed. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title of the bills on the general orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar.
House Bill 1014 by Representative Singer and Byrd, Senator Janal, concerning the retail food establishment inspection process in connection therewith, detailing the process with suspension of retail food establishment's license or certification of license. House Bill 1060 by Representative McKean and Senator Zenzinger, concerning conforming amendments necessitated by the transfer of certain safety authorities from the Department of Public Health and Environment to the Department of Public Safety pursuant to House Bill 1268.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for the adoption of all the bills on the consent calendar, which includes House Bill 1014 and House Bill 1060.
The motion is for the committee to, I'm sorry, actually, I couldn't hear the motion. Majority Leader Fenberg, could you please repeat?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for the adoption of all the bills on the consent calendar, which includes House Bill 1014 and House Bill 1060.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. Members, the motion before us is the adoption of all the bills on the consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. The consent calendar is adopted. Majority Leader Fenberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion before us is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. The committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Danielson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the report. And ask that it be read.
Mr. President, committee hold lead reports that in consideration of the following test bills being second reading, the opening, following recommendation around House Bill 1014, House Bill 1060, passed second read order, revised place counter for third reading and final passage.
Senator Danielson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we adopt the committee I move that we adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole.
The motion is for the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, the Committee of the Whole report is adopted. House Bill 1014, House Bill 1060 passed on second reading in order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. General order, second reading of bills. Senator Danielson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of second reading general orders.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The motion is adopted, and the Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general order, second reading bills, and Senator Danielson will take the chair.
The committee will come back to order, and the court rule is relaxed. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title of Senate Bill 90.
Senate Bill 90 by Senator Scott, concerning the operation of peer-to-peer motor vehicle sharing businesses.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that Senate Bill 90 lay over until Monday, February 18th, 2019.
The motion before us is to lay over Senate Bill 90 at the request of the Majority Leader. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed?
Or we could do Monday. If we want.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just for the record, the sponsor did request that this bill was heard on Monday. However, we will not be here Monday. So I move that Senate Bill 90 lay over until Tuesday, February 19th, 2019.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. Members, the motion before us is to lay over Senate Bill 90 at the request of the Majority Leader. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is to lay over Senate Bill 90 until Tuesday. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. The ayes clearly have it. The bill will be laid over at the request of the Majority Leader. Mr. Majority Leader. Pardon me? Oh, excuse me. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title of Senate Bill 109.
Bill 109 by Senator Finberg and Representative Garnett concerning adjustments to limitations of damages to reflect the effects of inflation.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 109 on second read and ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 109? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 109. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 109 is adopted. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title of Senate Bill 103.
Senate Bill 103 by Senators Williams and Tate and Representatives Quinlan and Carver concerning the ability of a minor to operate a business on a limited basis without obtaining the approval of local government.
Senator Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We move Senate Bill 19103 on general orders and second reading of bills.
There's an amendment on the desk. Mr. Carpenter,
You want to do
please read Amendment L001.
Amendment L001, Senate Bill 103 by Senator Williams, amend printed bill page 3, line 17, after such insert licensing and printing page 3, line 18, strike the law and substitute.
Senator Tate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move L001 to Senate Bill 103.
Is there further discussion on Amendment L001? Senator Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, Senate Bill 103, we're running L001 because we want to make sure that our young entrepreneurs know that they need to abide by the local laws under local governments, and with the exception of they cannot require a permit for occasionally run businesses, and we ask for an aye vote.
Senator Crowder.
I guess I like the bill like it was. I'm not sure why. Does this amendment actually water down the bill?
Senator Williams.
Thank you. And this does not actually water down the bill. There were some concerns about being able to have the youth abide by local rules and laws of the municipality. So let's just say there's something around safety, around serving food. They're on the local municipalities. We do want our young entrepreneurs to be able to adhere by those in the local municipalities. That does not include being able to not require a permit for occasional run businesses.
Senator Crowder.
Thank you for that comment. I thought the bill actually, the way I looked at the bill, it allowed a 9-year-old to put up a lemonade stand without getting a permit. Now, does your amendment indicate that permits are necessary?
Senator Tate.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate the question from my good colleague from Alamosa. No, the amendment does not affect the thrust of the bill. The thrust of the bill is to say that municipalities cannot require youth to get permits or business licenses to run their business. This just clarifies that other stipulations a municipality might have still apply, for example, food safety, things of that nature. Thank you.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you to the sponsors for bringing the bill. And as to the amendment, I suppose I'm going to support the amendment, but the fact that there were people rushing in to get this amendment just point out why we need the bill to start with. And I'll have a bit more to say about that in a few minutes or a couple of minutes and on thirds. But I mean, I read the bill as it sits without the amendment, and all it says is, notwithstanding any other provision of law, a local government or any agency, etc., shall not require a license or permit for a business that is operated on an occasional basis by a minor and located at a sufficient distance from a commercial entity. Oh my goodness, we don't want we don't want those lemonade stands competing with commercial businesses. And on, but I don't see anything there that needs this amendment. But I am sure I can just guess that all those municipalities came running in here and saying, oh my goodness, we may not be able to enforce the food safety requirements on the lemonade stand Now, we're not going to permit them, but we're going to go around and check them out for food safety, but they won't be permitted. But I understand why the amendment has to be brought, but it's just one more symptom of the problem, colleagues.
Senator Lundin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am vigorously in support of the bill, and tragically, I am in support of this amendment, and my reason is somewhat nuanced. The reality is the bill says you ought to be able to be a capitalist. Go out there, step forward, bring a product, serve your community, do that which has made America great. Always has been great. And this amendment says, but you can't just go do it. You're going to have to pay attention to the fact that there is government everywhere you turn, that there are rules that you must follow, even though you understand them instinctively and would have complied without someone standing over you saying, pay attention here, do this right. So I think this gives those budding entrepreneurs a glimpse into what being in business in America today sadly is like. Far too difficult at times, unnecessarily difficult at times. Government regulation telling you how to do what you know how to do better than government could ever figure out how to do at times. So I support this amendment because it's an object lesson in what it's like to be in business in America today for these budding entrepreneurs that we are hoping to bring forward. So as I said, it's a nuanced and measured support. It's a left-handed support, if you will, but it is in fact support.
Senator Tate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank my colleagues from Colorado Springs for now having me look at all the lemonade stand youth as cast members from the movie Braveheart. I appreciate it. Members, I want to thank all of y'all who attended the Youth Expo. I want to thank my colleague from Denver for making that happen. In testimony, we heard a lot of youthful energy around creating ideas, creating products, innovation, having a go at things. We talked about success and failure and the learning associated with failure. We even had a young man who may be sixth grade extemporaneously articulate all the things that are wrong with the bill. And so we even had youth debate in committee. It was actually quite striking. And I think it left my colleague and I feeling quite optimistic about things after the hearing ended. And I want to thank everyone here for supporting the bill, if you feel so inclined.
And Senator Tate, we're on the amendment.
Okay. Oh, and the amendment as well.
Senator Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you all for your feedback. It was just a wonderful day. Not only are we talking about lemonade stands, but we're talking about snow shoveling and mowing lawns. But we want to be able to encourage the innovation and the entrepreneurship of our youth at this age. We should not be trying to discourage that. And while I see the views of my colleagues on this amendment, we do want to teach our young people about how to operate businesses if they're not an occasional business, and that we expect them to adhere by the rules and the laws of this state and our municipality. So I'll ask you for an aye vote on L001.
So further discussion on Amendment L001. Senator Crowder.
I appreciate that, what you just said. And I believe this might sound like a simple bill, and it is, but the reality is there's a bigger question here. Do we continuously put on our children that if they want to start a lemonade stand, that they have to adhere to the government's rules and regulations, when in fact what we're talking about is the youth to be able to do what they've been doing for centuries in this country. Look at these children over here. You know, if they want to go out and do a lemonade stand, look what, according to this amendment, they would have to go to the city or the county, to obtain a permit, to obtain clearances, to obtain whatever. It's not about the rule of what government should infringe upon their clientele. And we're talking about people under 18. So I think this is an important question. And I do believe that due to the regulation and the people relying on government to guide them through whatever comes up has been overreached by far. So we ought to let these kids just, if they want to start a lemonade stand, go out in front of your home and start a stand, and not be worried about government intrusion. The thing about it, previously somebody brought up the point of the people coming in to push this amendment is part of the problem. But I would ask for a no vote on this amendment, and let's let these kids be free Americans.
Senator Marble. Mr. Minority Leader. Is there further discussion on Amendment L001? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L001. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes clearly have it. The amendment is adopted. To the bill. Senator Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for that conversation. I know that all of those our kidpreneurs that are watching are seeing government at work, and that was a part of what we did when we heard Senate Bill 103. Not only are we encouraging them to be kidpreneurs, but we also want to teach them about the legislative process, so I'd ask you for an aye vote on Senate Bill 19103.
Senator Tate.
And one final thing, and members, I apologize. Thank you, Madam Chair. We didn't serve lemonade today, but I think maybe one reason we didn't is that what we found out, it's much more than just lemonade stands. That was the origin of the idea, of the kind of the flashpoint behind the legislation. But at the Kids Expo, we saw one lemonade stand, but 15 other kids with different ideas on what they wanted to create. And very happy about this bill, and thank you, colleagues.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, colleagues, I appreciate and I too share the lightheartedness that accompanies this bill. But you know, and with no pun intended, this bill is the poster child for a much, much larger problem. The amendment is a poster child for a much, much larger problem. And it is excessive regulation. And it is the need for every government regulator to engage in excessive regulation because that is their reason for existence. Now, I spent many, many years in government myself, and I have the greatest respect for those conscientious government officials who do try to, at the very best, exercise their discretion in a reasonable way. But, members, let me read, and this is not a time-taking exercise that I do this. Let me read from the legislative declaration on which we're voting, because it says something larger than lemonade stands and lawn mowing and snow shoveling and any number of other things. On page 2, it starts, in the absence of common sense relief. In the absence of common sense relief. Laws imposed and administered at the local level requiring businesses to obtain permits or licenses to operate with the distinct possibility of civil or criminal or civil penalties for non-compliance may be used to ensnare minors wanting to operate small-scale businesses on a very limited basis, and it goes on. Take it out and read it, members. It starts with a very true statement. In the absence of common sense relief, every regulation adopted, no matter how necessary, and there many are, we will deal with Medical Practice Act and standards of practice. We will deal with many things this session, as we have in the past sessions, and they are necessary for public health and safety, do not get me wrong. But I challenge you, every time you vote on one of those, remember the phrase, in the absence of common sense relief, because there will be an absence of common sense relief at some place and at some time with some citizen on each and every one of those regulations. That is the cost. That is the price we pay. It is the price our children are paying in this regulated culture and society that we have. So as you vote on each and every one, and as you make this vote, do ask yourself, is it necessary? And this bill says, no, it isn't. That's why I ask for your yes vote.
Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm proud to have my name as a co-sponsor on Senate Bill 103 and appreciate the prime sponsors bringing the bill. I also have a great appreciation for this process and love to explain it. We have guests in the room this morning, and to Senate Bill 103, there were some raised eyebrows a moment ago when there was a voice vote, and the noes were clearly louder than the yeses. And some might wonder, well, why did the chair rule in favor of the yeses? It's because our Constitution, our statutes, and our legislative rules give no credence, give no power to the volume of a vote. It's only the number. And I want to commend the chair and support her in her ruling that the ayes, the yes votes were prevailing, because it doesn't matter how loud the voice vote is, it's only how many vote one way or the other. So if any of our guests are wondering, how could it have possibly worked that way? It worked. I see some nodding heads in the back. It worked exactly how it's supposed to work. It isn't volume, it's number. And thank you, Madam Chair, for your leadership on that vote.
Is there further discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 103. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 103 is adopted. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion before the committee is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report.
Senate will come to order. Senator Danielson.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Mr. Carpenter, please read the report.
Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs lead reports that in consideration of the following tax bills, the second thereof makes the following recommendations are: 1. Senate Bill 109, Senate Bill 103 is amended passed second read order and gross place on calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 90 laid over until 2/19/19 and retaining its place on the calendar.
Senator Danielson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the report.
You have heard the motion for the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, the committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 109, Senate Bill 103 as amended passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 090 laid over until 2/19/2019 and retaining its place on the calendar. Consideration of resolutions. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title to Senate Joint Resolution 005.
Senate Joint Resolution 5 by Senator Garcia and Representative Becker concerning the appointment of members of the Colorado Commission on Uniform State Laws.
Majority Leader Fenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 5.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Carpenter, there is an amendment at the desk. Will the clerk please read the amendment?
Amendment L001, Senate Joint Resolution 5 by Senator Garcia, and printed resolution, page 1, line 6, strike, Mr. Pass 7, and substitute strike, Mr. Pass 7 on strike.
Majority Leader Fenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Amendment L001 to SJR 5.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is for the adoption of Amendment L001 to SJR 005. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, the amendment is adopted. To the resolution. Is there any further discussion on Senate Joint Resolution 005? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 005. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Joint Resolution 005 is adopted. It is passed. Co-sponsors. Senator Gardner. Signing bills.
The President assigned Senate Bill 21, the President assigned Senate Joint Memorial 1 and Senate Joint Memorial 2.
Members, will the Capitol Choir please assemble? And Senator Williams, will you please join us so that we can recognize you for your birthday?
Yeah.
Capitol Choir.
I didn't know it was your birthday. Happy birthday.
Okay.
Thank you. Now we can start.
There you go. Happy birthday
To you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Angela. Happy birthday to you.
I believe the Capitol Choir should start rehearsing. Announcements. Senator Hill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just came to request that for my birthday, the choir not sing to me as a present. But in all seriousness, colleagues, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. in the West Foyer, the Christian Home Educators are hosting a breakfast for anyone who would like to attend. I know it's Meet Your Legislator Day at the Capitol tomorrow, so 8 a.m. in the West Foyer for check.
Senator Crowder.
Thank you, Mr. President. This morning on your desk, Adams State University left a minor gift on your desk, had some information on it, and I just wanted to thank Adams State University for thinking of us. Thank you.
Senator Patterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. So that I comply with the rules, I would like to make an announcement that it is Valentine's Day. I would like to wish you all a happy Valentine's Day. I hope that you feel loved and appreciated, and I delivered roses on your desk. Thank you.
Senator Janelle.
Thank you, Mr. President. And tomorrow, the Colorado Dental Association will be here for Dentist Day. And they will have breakfast at 7:30 in the basement. And so please come and talk to your local dentists. And also they will be here until, I think, 12:30 up in room 354. So please come and visit, say hello, and grab something for breakfast tomorrow morning down in the basement rotunda. Thanks.
Further announcements. Seeing none, Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very, very, very important announcement. Everyone, please pay attention. You got an email last week about merch, about Capital Swag. If you want to order anything with your name on it, a bag, a shirt, I think the president has a really nice jacket. There is a deadline for that. If you want to get it in on the first shipping deadline, you need to have your order placed by tomorrow. You can still order after that, but anything ordered after tomorrow's deadline will just be shipped separately. It may take a bit longer. Look at that. For $19.99 or something. I don't know what the price is, but that's what we're talking about. You got an email. Check it out. If you want to get an order in, please do so if you want to get it into the first shipping deadline. Otherwise, you'll still be able to order it, but you'll get it later. With that, Mr. President, I move that the Senate recess until noon today.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The Senate will be in recess until 1200 today.